Welcome, Radiant Souls, to the Cycle of Life reading with Araenia for the month of April. It's been a really action-packed, full and busy year in 2025 so far. Things are moving so quickly, so many changes out on the global and the world stage, so many realignments and energetic phases that are turning up and impacting our life. And April's going to be an interesting month also. So in this reading, I'm doing a key card reading. We'll be looking at an animal totem, which gives us an overall theme, and then 3 playing cards, which indicate what could be coming up for us on a general level in April of 2025. The animal totem that we're working with this month, there, can we see that? Is the vulture. Now that's a really interesting card. We think that vultures are scavengers and not very desirable creatures perhaps, but every animal, every being in our entire world has a purpose, has a use, and is important to us in one way or another. What this vulture is saying is nothing is wasted. What I really like about this vulture is it's sitting there, and I'm not sure if you can see, but it has, there we go, a little crown on its head, and it looks like it's wearing some kind of regal cloak. To me, that's indicating sovereignty. That's us in our God or goddesshood, because every single one of us is. When we're walking our soul path, we are walking to, if we're female, our goddessness. And if we are male, we're working towards our godliness. Now, that has nothing to do with doctrine. It has nothing to do with dogma, religion, anything like that at all. It's just from a consciousness and soul-driven angle. So when we are in our godlike capacity, our goddessness, our godlikeness, that means that we're working from the very center of our soul and our I am presence. So for the vulture to turn up dressed in this full-on sovereignty, I think that's incredibly exciting. It's indicating to us that it's time that we took another step forward, that we stepped onto that pathway of our soul, and that we follow that guidance of that golden pathway. One of the ways we can do this is to find what pops up in our life. If it just pops up out of nowhere, and then it pops up again over here, you know there's something going on. The soul always works with very quick pop-ups. It has to get around our whole subconscious operating system, which if we stop and hesitate too long, will throw up every program that we've ever created that will tell us, oh, we cannot do this because of this. We cannot do it because of that. Here's a problem. Here's a block. All these reasons why. And we often think, why do I keep self-sabotaging? Why do I get cold feet? Well, that's because our subconscious operating system is hopping in and getting in the way of our soul-guided perpetual motion. We're on this all the time, but whether we actually identify it and work with it is something else. So in our sovereignty, this is who am I at the core? Who am I really being? Who do I want to project myself as? And what's the truth of me? What is my truth? What do I stand for? Who am I? Not who does that person over there, mum, dad, the neighbour, the child, the workplace, what do they think I should be? That's handing our autonomy and our power away to someone else. When we're in true sovereignty, we make that decision from within and we project ourselves out in our true authenticity. Now, that's not to say that who you think you are or who you feel you are today will be the same as who you feel you are tomorrow. Some kind of event, experience, insight, awakening, whatever could occur in those 24 hours, and you make that shift to where you now are setting your default system. This happens all the time. We are constantly evolving, constantly growing, constantly becoming more aware and conscious of not only ourselves, but the world around us. Every experience, every interaction helps us to grow within ourselves. We never grow from the outside. We only ever grow as the response from the inside out. So take a look at how you are responding to your world. If you're responding in fear or anger or jealousy, or you have a narrative around betrayal or loss, whatever it is, those are all subconscious programs and they can all be cleared. Anyway, we're not talking about clearings right now, but if you want to know more about that, you can contact me and I can point you in that direction because we work with that as well. But at the moment, this is a reading, the key card reading, that would normally take about 30 minutes. And it just gives you an idea of where you're at, what your themes are, and what's coming up for you. So for all of us, we are operating with this key card of the vulture. Nothing is wasted. So how many times in your life have you gone, well, that was wasted time. I did all this study at school or university, or I did a degree in this, or I trained as a mechanic, and I don't want to do that anymore. What a waste of time. What Vulture is reminding us is that it is never wasted. In my own life, recently, I've been finding things that I did or worked with or learned 20 or so years ago. Suddenly they've turned up again. And I'm thinking, well, why is that relevant right now? I thought I was finished with that. But it's coming in to augment, to enhance, to improve, or to take me on a new direction. I do not always know straight away what that will be. I just know that it's important. So the vulture is capable of that really high soaring flight. It needs to find where its source of food is. So it's got that bird's eye perspective where it's up looking down. And our soul journey is the same. Our soul takes us to the bigger picture where we can take that perch up there and we can look down over so much that is happening below us. We can see it in the everyday life. We can see the programming, and we can also see where our golden pathway of soul transition is. So nothing is ever wasted. Everything that you've done has got you to the point where you are now. So often we regret relationships. Oh, I should never have hooked up with that person. I should never have married this one. I should have run a mile. All of these kinds of things, and all those shoulds, they're a block. They're a block to us moving forward anyway. That's we were talking earlier about the cold feet. The shoulds keep us stuck. So rather than what wasn't or what was not, what it could have been, let's just look at what it was, what our life to this point is, has been, and was at some point in the past, because nothing is wasted. It has brought you to where you are right now. And this is all you've got to work with. You cannot jump into someone else's body or take someone else's soul or run with someone else's program, or just no matter how many diets or exercise programs or makeup or clothes or whatever it is that you might try and veil yourself with, you are still you. At the core of it, you're still you. You can enhance yourself, but you cannot be someone else. So we've got to work with what we've got. So that means learning to acknowledge, appreciate, and understand who we are. When we look at it from a subconscious perspective, that we are our programs. So if those programs that you have endured have been traumatic, depressing, addictive, just downright tricky, and you hate them, it's all very well to think, I hate having that program. But that's not you. You're just the person with that program. Those programs can be removed, they can be changed, the blocks can be taken out of the way, the obstacles, and you can move forward. So that is part of the clearing process. Um, so with that eagle's or that vulture's perch up there, you can see the bigger picture. So April's about expanding our perspective, taking that perspective and being able to see what else is going on outside of our very tiny, narrow little box that we live in. The other great thing about a vulture is that it's the perfect cleaner. Nature never leaves anything undone. There's always animals, microbes, insects, whatever it is that come along and clean. And the vulture's a perfect example. It brings everything to completion. Out in the deserts, if there is some kind of beast has passed, they will come and pick and clean and take all the parts of that animal. It creates nutrition for the vulture, but it helps to clean up the ground itself. And then other organisms will work on whatever remains until everything's back to earth, ashes to ashes kind of concept. And nature carries on. It's a self-perpetuating cycle that is continuously feeding and nurturing everything that exists within it. So, vulture, we've got that sovereignty. We've got that high perch, the big overlook, but we've also got the essence of completion in there. So this is what April is showing us, standing in our own power, being true to who we are. And it's the true us, not what someone else wants us to be. And it's about understanding that we are who we are right now. It's not static, it will change. And how things are coming to completion. I've got 3 regular playing cards here, and I have to admit, I always like to draw them before I come online because that helps the insights come in and start to percolate so I can see the bigger picture myself. I take that vulture's perch or the eagle's perch, whatever it is, and see the bigger picture. And what fascinated me about these are every single one of these 3, and I've got 3 cards here because it's a key card reading. Every one of these 3 is about the end of a cycle. So let's just have a look and see what they are. This is what's turning up in April. The very first one, oops, can we see that? Let's get it. There we go. Queen of Diamonds. The diamonds represent our consciousness. I could say our spirituality, but it's so much more than that. Spirituality is capped in the 4th dimension, and that's where all the programs sit. If we want to be able to go beyond that into greater awareness, greater consciousness, into our own evolution, our own soul growth, we can never do that through spirituality because the soul is beyond the spiritual. So if we look at the diamonds representing our consciousness development and where we are in that soul pathway. The Queen, if you think of a clock, every one of the Cycle of Life cards or the Ouroboros cards, they fit on a clock face. And the Queen stands for 12. So this is like right between one day and the next. It's like the midnight point. Absolute completion of a consciousness cycle. So you've had some way of operating on your soul pathway that has come to a complete finish. From here, you move into the center point which would be represented by a king, and that shows new promise. Not emerging yet, but just sitting there waiting for the right divine timing. So the Queen is showing us that within ourselves and our soul journey, we have gone the full cycle. We've played this whole thing out and we've brought it to closure, because the exciting thing is, just like the vulture, nothing is ever wasted. You are ready to start shifting into a new consciousness phase, a new energetic phase, a new soul pathway. There's going to be a shift or a change. Now, it may be imperceptible. It may not be something that you can see, okay, so I finished that job, I started that job. That's really clear cut. The completion, when you've packed your bag, you've walked away and you're never going back to that job again, is that Queen. And you've gone through all the emotional, you've done all the weighing up, you're no longer at that job, but maybe you have no new job yet. That one's not ready. So it shows us that on a consciousness level, we may not see it today, or we may not see it in the month of April, but it may be that a month or two down the track, you get to a point where you look back and you think, oh, I've moved on to that pathway. I think like this now. I see things like this now. I'm in a new phase of how I project myself. I'm in a new phase of following my heart, of speaking my truth, whatever it is that your soul has you working on, because we will work on different things at different times. But you've come to the very end of that process. The new one is not showing yet. It'll be there, but this is more about bringing things to completion, just like the vulture does. It's got to clean the playing field to allow new to come in. Imagine making a cake and you've got a cluttered bench. Where do you put all your ingredients? How do you work without knocking something over? It's just a real problem. It's a pain. So we clean that so that we can then bring in the new. And that's where we're at with this. This is having gone through all the emotional response already, and even that analytical, evaluative assessment phase. Well, if I'd done this, or if I'd thought that, or maybe next time if I ever did this, I'd do it this way instead. That's that 11 o'clock, keeping in mind that the Queen is the 12, coming right to that full cycle in some kind of soul consciousness way. That's not card number one. Card number two. Wow, here we go. Another, whoops, can we see it? There we go. I think that's probably best. It's the King of Spades. The King, as I was saying before, is the center point. So we've got the clock face, which has got all 12, and then where the hands join on the old analog clock, that center point is where the King sits. And that's potential. It has not emerged yet. It's still sitting there under the surface, waiting for divine timing. The spades stand for some kind of physical work. This could be your job if you're out looking for a job and you are currently unemployed, or you're waiting to shift out of one job into the next. The King's showing us the potential that there is something hovering. You may be not going to see it yet. You might get a flash. You might get a thought of, oh, I think there might be something like this coming up for me. But it hasn't emerged and made itself known yet. So, and that only ever happens when everything is in divine alignment and the perfect timing. And it's soul timing. It's not your timing. It's not you saying, I want a new job by the end of April. Life doesn't work that way. The soul does not work that way. In fact, when we get out of the way, we step back, and instead of trying to put conditions on the soul, conditions on ourselves, things come to us a lot more easily. You'll see that pop up and it will be, oh, something over there that looks interesting. It could be something completely new that you've never even thought of before, because only the soul can do that. The subconscious in the spiritual fourth dimensional realm, it can only ever repeat and duplicate. It can never show you anything new. That's the job of the soul. So when you get a glimpse of something, it's perfectly fine to go and investigate, but no pushing, no forging away, no smashing it out of the park, no to-do list that says I have to go and do this thing about it. This is more about being the observer, just seeing what turns up, what turns up. And if it turns up more than once, turns up twice, you think, oh, we're onto something here. If it turns up 3 times and it's going click, 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 that could be your new pathway. Keep your eye open for it. The physical, we talked about, it could be a job. It could be that you're creating or making something. Perhaps you've got a new project on. You're going to restore a car. You're going to make a garden. You're going to build a house. It's a physical thing. It could be that you want to go onto a new eating plan, a new exercise program. Doesn't have to just be your workplace, but so long as it's got a physical doing component to it, this could be what you're looking at. So if you're waiting for something to turn up, just know that the king is sitting in the center, in the wings, waiting for divine timing. The final card that I've got in this key card reading, another completion card, it's the Queen of Hearts. Oops. Hopefully you can see that. Queen of Hearts. And is this the Queen of Diamonds spoke to us about coming to the absolute end of a cycle before we head into the center where the kings sit. The final wrapping up, which Vulture's helping us to do. The hearts, of course, are relating to relationships. So these are intimate relationships, love relationships, family relationships, friendships, colleagues, wherever we are in connection with another being. It could be between us and a pet, or us and something that we really love. It might even be an inanimate thing. It could be your relationship with your car. And I get the sense that this is more people oriented this month, but anything's possible. Because we've got this new, we've got the end of the consciousness pathway and the soul journey, because we've got the sovereignty coming up here and speaking to you about stepping onto your soul pathway and your own goddess or god-like sense of self, I suspect that for many of you, the Queen of Hearts is talking about a changing relationship with how you perceive yourself. That would be just that little tiny shift in stepping into a truer you, a more authentic you, a you that can project yourself into the world in a way where you feel more confident or freer or safer or more transformative or more heart-centered, speaking out, or just understanding and knowing who you are, coming down through all those chakras to be able to perceive yourself in a different way, but a different, more soul-guided way, a loving and nurturing way that is positive and is bringing you forward into the next phase of what comes after April, because April's a massive month of completion, a massive month of taking that bird's eye view of yourself and of everything that's around you, and of stepping into your true self. And this is the self that you feel comfortable with. Not that someone else is showing you, not that an influencer is telling you, oh, you need to do this, you need to be that. Not that any kind of official or institutional place says, You need to be this, you need to do that, you need to take this particular thing or that particular thing. This is you standing in your own power and making decisions for yourself, knowing yourself on a different level, bringing completion, the old you, ready when the when the hearts step into that king role or even move on beyond there, for you to become the next version of yourself. So that's it for April. This was a key card reading. If you would like any cycle of life reading for April, for you, a specific one for you, please message me. We can set up a time and do a personalized reading just for you. This one's for us generally, an overview of what we're all going to encounter in one way or another. But if you'd like something for yourself, please contact me and we can talk further. So have a wonderful April, and I'll see you again at the beginning of May. And we'll find out what's in the cycle of life reading at that point to show us where things could be going in May. And that's it for now. I'm Araenia, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.